the day we got married was the day he graduated college.
Yeah, I kept my promise. I graduated college at 10 a.m. and we got married at like 4:30 in the afternoon. So we're jetting from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, if you know where that is, to Jolton, Tennessee, which is North Nashville, in like 40 minutes. I don't know how Lorenzo did it, but I'm changing into my suit in the car, and people are looking at me like, why is that guy naked in that car? And I'm changing into my tux and made it on time to photos. We got everything done in time. It was a beautiful day.
Love stories fill us with joy and inspire hope for the future. And a true life romance can remind us that sometimes just one spark is all it takes to change everything. They met on the beach. John was singing Lifehouse, and then Emily walked into view. And in one unexpected moment, everything changed. Welcome to Unexpected Love Stories. I'm your host, Dawn Prushkovsky. Our guests today are John and Emily Labonte, originally from Tennessee. They now live here in Henderson, Nevada. They made this move west when they felt a call to start a church in the Las Vegas Valley. John's the founding pastor of Emmaus Church, and Emily's a nurse practitioner and an author. Welcome, you two. How are you doing?
So good.
Great.
Excited to be on the show with you today, Dawn.
So am I. I know that your story is going to be extremely, extremely wonderful, powerful, and needed to be heard. So let's go back to when you met. What were you doing before that time? I mean, were you looking for someone? Were you hoping that love would come into your life? Well, what were you doing? How'd you meet?
Dawn, I had actually just sworn off dating. I wasn't going to date anymore. I had been in a series of unfortunate relationships, and I had decided that I was going to focus on my relationship with God and no boys. And that's about a week later is when I met John. So
I came on the scene.
God had other plans for us.
That seems to be the way it is, isn't it? Like,
yes.
That's it. I'm not going to date when. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. It was similar in my story. I had just gotten out of a long relationship with someone that just wasn't a healthy scenario, and so I had just given up on trying to find that perfect person, and like your podcast says, in an unexpected moment, that's when I met Emily. And so, but it was in that moment I'd given up, and I had trusted the Lord to outside of my own control. Sometimes it's hard to just give up and let someone else intervene, but that's what I did. And then God brought Emily into my view, changed everything.
All right. Literally, she was brought into your view, huh?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So describe the moment that you guys met there on the beach.
Well, Dawn, we actually had met one time before the moment on the beach. So we had met through a Christian organization at our college called Campus Crusade for Christ. And I was sitting at the front writing name tags, and I see John, and I'm like, oh, this guy's really cute. And then wow. he walks up to get my name tag, and I'll let you share this part.
Yeah. So I believe it's the moment that I first met her, but where we formally met, we were walking in a much more beautiful scenario. But one of my best friend at the time, we were walking up to check into this extracurricular at the university we were part of. And I said, she asked for my name to write me a name tag. And I said, watch this, Lorenzo. I'll give you my name if you give me yours first. And she respectfully looked at me with a smile on her face. Name, please. And so I wouldn't call that a win on our first interaction, but on the beach, it was the perfect place. It was spring break. of my freshman year, Emily's sophomore year. I know it's hard to believe it, but she's just a little bit older than me. And I remember walking on the beach, and I ran up to her because I remembered seeing her, at that check-in, like what, 3-4 weeks before this. And I walked up to her, called her by the wrong name. So it's like strike number 2. I don't even remember what name I called you.
Amanda, I remember. No, but when we first met, we were on a group spring break trip with Campus Crusade for Christ, and we had decided as a big group to do a group date night. So there were like 3 rooms of guys and 3 rooms of girls, and they said that they had randomly selected like which room of guys would take which room of girls for a little group date night. So his condo of guys got my condo of girls, and they cooked us spaghetti. And and then after the spaghetti, they decided to serenade us. And John has a beautiful voice, and he's talented with the guitar. And so he was playing this song called You and Me by Lifehouse. And that's my favorite band. So I was instantly drawn to him and his voice. And then I look up and our eyes kind of meet, and it's like, oh man, I was like smitten instantly.
Yeah, it's crazy because I didn't know Lifehouse was her favorite band. It was one of my favorite bands. And so I'm serenading all the girls and just kind of being indirect, just being respectful. And, but then when we locked eyes, like I forgot the lyrics. I forgot what I was doing. And it really was that kind of smitten moment where I was like, oh, not again, not again. But this felt so much different.
Yeah. And then after that moment, they invited us for a walk on the beach. And I remember all of the girls gone onto the elevator to go back to our room to just change clothes or whatever before we met back up. And all the girls were talking about John, and they're like, oh, who is that new guy? He's so cute. And I was like, ladies, he's mine. And then he pursued me on the beach and
called you by the wrong name.
Called me by the wrong name.
She was gracious. Right. Yes. It was great. That was a great night. That changed everything for us. So,
So when you did the walk on the beach, was it a group walk, or did you guys just walk? Did you group walk and you guys made sure you walked together? Yeah. What was that?
Well, she was ahead of me. Again, this was kind of like a round 2. It was like I was getting a second chance at trying to win this young lady. And so Lorenzo and I are walking behind the group, and we're catching up with them as we're walking on the beach. And I said, there she is again. Here's round 2. And Lorenzo always kept me humble. He always gave me pointers on, this isn't going to work. You should probably give up on this. And I go up to her and I said, hey, Jessica, or
Amanda.
Amanda. Hey, Amanda. And she looks over at me and she goes, that's not my name. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's over. This girl is not going to like me.
I was a little sassier than I normally would have been in that moment, just because all night other people had been calling me Melissa all night. And so I was like, I'm just tired of being called the wrong name. My name is Emily.
Yeah, extra crazy. But somehow I dug through that, and we just began to get to know each other. And that was the moment. It was spring break of that first year we met, 3 years before we got married. And so 19 years, almost 19 years, actually this week will be 19 years. 889 was when we got married.
Yeah.
And so we knew each other 3 years before that. It's been a beautiful ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. We exchanged phone numbers. He was a little sneaky in how he did that, but
she says she caught up on it, but I don't think she did. The groups, we stayed in groups on this trip, which was a great sign of health and community and all of these great things. We had a great group, but some of them were going to Waffle House. Is the middle of the night almost, probably 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I said, hey, Emily, I didn't call her Amanda this time. And I said, hey, how about I get your number when us guys, we're going back to our condo. We're going to go over to Waffle House. I'll give you a text or a call when we're headed that way, and you guys can join us. It was so good. I was digging myself out of a hole. And this was one of those good moments. She gave me her number, and I memorized it immediately. And there the chase began.
Yeah, I remember on the ride home from the beach, calling my mom, and I was like, "Mom, I've met him. I've met my future husband." And she's like, "Now, Emily, you just told me you're not dating anyone anymore."
Oh man, it's so good.
Mm-hmm. So you guys went back to college. How did you keep it alive once you got back to college?
I think that's when like the honeymoon phase wears off in your dating life. You start really getting to know each other. The newness kind of not wears off. You know what I mean? I mean, as you grow in a relationship, it just adjusts along the way. And we began to really get to know each other well. And in that period, for myself, I fell more and more in love with her because we weren't just connected because we had that moment on the beach. We were connected because of our life story, and our life stories began to overlap as we shared some of, the embarrassing parts about our life, the shame moments of our life. And in those moments, I remember, I would be clammy as we went to, at MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University, they have a lot of lawn areas. So in Tennessee, there's, out in the West, we don't really know what this means, but there were grassy lawns and there would be trees, and we would sit there on a blanket and we would just talk about life and talk about our stories. And I remember finally sharing stories about my life that I wasn't most proud of, and Emily would have some similarities, and that just grew our relationship deeper over those next few semesters at MTSU.
I remember really long nights together, just staying up until way too late, just talking. We would go to parks, and we would sit on the bench together and just talk and share. I remember our first date. It was at my apartment, right? It was at my apartment, and you cooked.
We didn't have any money, so I took her out to her own kitchen.
Yeah. And we made a little picnic in my bathroom floor in our apartment, and we had like little candles in there, and it was just to get some privacy. When you share an apartment with other college students, it's like just to kind of be alone.
Sit in the bathroom. Yeah.
Yes.
So
probably not the best idea, but it worked.
Yeah. It was great. Little candlelight dinner. It was so sweet. I remember that moment. I remember our first kiss. It was in that same apartment. And it was so sweet as he was telling me goodbye one night. And
yeah, this was kind of further into our relationship because I didn't want that to be a pursuit, because when you fall in love with someone, like it can be a very dangerous thing if you have certain values and morals, and you're led by certain convictions that you don't want to do certain things, sexually speaking, and kissing is like the front door to that. And so this was a few months in, and I just gave her a quick kiss on the lips, and that was just another confirmation.
Yeah. Not too much longer. It was the first time he said, "I love you." And it was another one of those like late nights, just staying up and talking. And
back then, we didn't have Netflix and we didn't have Hulu. And so we had DVD sets for all of our favorite TV shows. And so I don't remember what TV show we were watching, but I just looked over at her and I said, Emily, I don't expect you to respond to this, but I just want you to know, I think I actually really love you. And then we just went back to the show. And I just wanted her to know, like, I meant that, And that was quite a few years ago.
Yeah. And I did say I love you that same night. So
awesome. I don't remember. I just know
that felt good. Okay, so how you guys were you still freshmen, sophomores at that time?
Yeah, I was a freshman. She had just begun her second semester sophomore year, and that's
Mhm.
when we met. She was
Mhm.
in medical or nursing school, and I was a business major, and I love business. I just love the way all of that stuff works, and yeah, and then we meet at a non-college event.
Mhm.
It was
Mhm.
wonderful.
Mhm. Um, that same year, the upcoming summer, I spent what 8 weeks or 10 weeks in Santa Cruz, California, on like a mission trip out there, and his best friend Lorenzo came with me, so he was very lonely.
I was lonely because I had just quit this Christian rock band that I was
Mhm.
in, and I quit because I felt like that call. Like now I'm planting a church in with my wife in Henderson,
Mhm.
Nevada, but rewind all the way back to that moment, I knew that I was not doing what I felt like God had called me to do.
Mhm.
Like the creator of who I am, I genuinely felt like he had created me to not be about people looking at me, but me pointing people to him. And so I felt very empty in what I was doing on stages because it was all about us. And so I quit the band. Emily announces she's going. The first summer that we had really kind of gotten serious, she's taking my best friend with her clear across to California, and eventually, throughout the day, she had very limited opportunity to talk to me on the phone.
Mhm.
We didn't have really texting back then, so we wrote letters back and forth to each other, snail mail letters,
Mhm.
and we would talk on the phone.
We would even like fall asleep on the phone, and I would wake up and he would still be on the
It was
phone.
crazy.
Wow.
But that summer was when we started even talking about marriage and everything. We knew that
Yeah,
that we wanted to marry each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
And yet you guys are still in college, so I mean, how did that weigh into everything? Because
Well,
yeah, you poor college students with
mhm.
so
Yeah.
much more studies to go ahead, what
It weighed into it. I think we would have gotten married very quickly if it was up to us. But when John asked my hand in marriage from my parents, my mom made him promise to graduate college before we got married, and he was a freshman, so that was a
Yeah.
long engagement.
Yeah. And
um,
but we're very goal-oriented people. So
mhm,
we discovered that in college, and we were able to tackle a whole lot of things and balance a whole lot of things in our life. And you had pointed to it. I was so poor in college. If it weren't for my parents helping me get the townhome that I had, and I got to rent out the other two rooms, and it made it very affordable for me to live through those college years. I still remember one of the years I think I made like $7,000 the entire year, and that felt like a lot of money to me. And so you're right. I mean, we were poor. We were creative though, and so
yeah.
our dates, we continued to pursue each other, and
Mhm,
we did creative date nights where we would just I would grill pork chops on her
mhm,
skillet,
mhm.
and or she would come over to my townhome, and we would all just hang out together, and it was a beautiful season. But that was a 3-year process. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
Half price appetizers at Applebee's.
Yes, that was amazing. I ate my weight in cheese sticks. I mean, so yeah, that's we got through it together, and I think that's the unique thing about relationships is I can't imagine doing my life alone,
Mm,
Mhm.
achieving, accomplishing, or even going through difficult seasons. I can't do it alone.
mm-mm.
And that's why God sent, I believe, Emily into my life is
Mm,
he knows that I can't do it alone.
yeah.
So we did it together,
Mhm,
you know.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And the day we got married was, the day he graduated college.
Yeah. I kept my promise. I graduated college at 10 a.m. and we got married at like 4:30 in the afternoon. So we're jetting from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, if you know where that is, to Jolton, Tennessee, which is North Nashville, in like 40 minutes. I don't know how Lorenzo did it, but I'm changing into my suit in the car, and people are looking at me like, why is that guy naked in that car? And I'm changing into my tux, and made it on time to photos. We got everything done in time. It was a beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so wait, we skipped an engagement here.
Oh, yes.
So you promised her parents
Mm,
you won't get married until you graduate.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
How long from the time that you fell in love did you get her a ring?
I
And
think
was this planned? Was it spontaneous? What was it?
it was like, it was more planned than spontaneous, I would think. Um, not making a lot of money, I had to buy a an engagement ring on a payment plan at a jewelry store called Jared's. And they were very gracious to me and gave me a payment plan. And I think the ring was $1,200. It took me 2 years to pay it off. But I designed this wedding ring 9 months after we had really gotten serious. I just knew, like, when you know. And so I'd gotten a diamond ring, and I called her parents and said, hey, I'd love to propose to her on Christmas Eve. I want to dress up like Santa Claus, and I want to create this snowy scene. It was so sappy.
It's cute. It was
But
really cute.
but while we were dating, I always told Emily, if I ever propose to a girl in the future, I'll write her a love song, and I'll share that song with her, because I'm a writer, singer songwriter. I'm a creative guy. And so I show up at her house in Jackson, Tennessee. Mind you, I was in Franklin, Tennessee. So it was about an hour and a half to 2 hour drive, Christmas Eve night. And the whole drive there, I'm just thinking, man, what if she says no? And, all of those fills kept popping into my mind. So we get off her exit 87 on I-40, get to her parents' house. I start knocking on her window, and I've got like a Santa hat on. It was really embarrassing.
It was cute.
It was, yeah. And so she comes to the front, and I'd set up this scene. She was sitting on a lawn chair, and I had bought fake snow. And so we created this snowy scene, and I began to sing Christmas songs to her, and she would sing them with me. And then eventually I got into the song that I'd written her. So I began to sing it, and towards the end of the song, the bridge asks if she would marry me. And so I kneel down in my guitar case and pull out the ring and put it on her finger, and she said yes. And it was such a sweet, sweet night.
Yeah. It was precious. It was a precious night. There was a little glitch in that little story, though. I had just cut my finger on my razor, and I had a Band-Aid on my finger, so we had a little bit of trouble to get the ring on. And we come inside, and my grandmother, we called her Gigi. Well, John termed that nickname for her, actually.
Yeah.
Gigi, and we were so excited and explaining to everybody we had just gotten engaged, and she looked at my finger. She was a very fiery spitfire of a woman, very sassy lady. She's like, what happened to your finger? And I told her, and she was like, well, isn't that a sign?
And that was my first encounter with Geneva.
But she was a funny lady.
Yes. It was a wonderful night.
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was
okay, so that was you were in college like maybe a year before you got married or so, or what?
No, our engagement was very long.
We met in March. We met on the spring break trip in March, in the same year as when we got engaged in December.
Yeah. Okay, same Christmas. Okay.
So
then it was the long wait.
Years, yes.
Long engagement.
I would say, as goal-oriented as we were, 3 years was really hard because, you're fighting a lot. Like I had said, you you set these bars, and like we wanted to wait until we were married, and so we had to fight for 3 years to fight off urges of a natural thing, to want to be married, to want to we were in love,
Mhm.
but I wanted to honor her parents, and so for 3 years we fought the good fight, and we, all the way up till wedding day, graduation day. It was tough, and that caused some difficulties in our relationship because we felt like we needed to be married.
Mhm.
It's like, why are we waiting? We're goal oriented. We're not going. I'm not a deadbeat guy.
Mhm.
I'm very. I'll protect her. I'll take care of her.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
believe I'm the right person for her.
Yeah.
So that was hard. 3 years. We never encourage people to be engaged for 3 years.
Mm-mm.
Even when we do premarital counseling for new couples that want me to do their wedding, and we never encourage long engagements because
Mm-mm.
you fall out of physical love with each other. You've trained yourself to not do those things you don't want to do. You want to wait till you cross the finish line of getting married, and so it made it very hard.
Mhm. Yeah, we talked about eloping so many times, but we never did it.
Yes,
Yeah,
maybe we should have.
we should have. Yeah, looking back, we totally should.
Yes,
But John honored your parents' request.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a big thing. Friends, I want to invite you to see John and Emily's wedding photos. They're on our website, unexpectedlovestories.com. The link to that episode is just below here in the description for our episode guide. Have you lived an unforgettable love story? We want to hear it. In Unexpected Love Stories, we're collecting real stories of love that came out of nowhere or changed everything. Whether it started with a glance, a prayer, or a second chance, your story matters, and it could inspire the world. Visit unexpectedlovestories.com and share your love story today, because the world needs more stories like yours. Okay, so we've got you stripping naked in the car, keeping your
yes,
text on,
yeah.
hurrying, getting you to the church on time. Tell us about your
Yes.
wedding day.
It was the hottest day on record in Tennessee in 2009.
And it was an outdoor wedding too, so everybody was sweating. I don't know
Yes.
why we did that.
Not just an outdoor wedding, but right off the Harpeth River. And in this
It's
curve
very
in the
humid.
Harpeth River, it was very stagnant.
Yeah.
So it was humid, it was hot, and Emily was not coming down the aisle.
Well,
We
so it wasn't my fault. My wedding planner said, "Do not walk down these steps until I come get you." So I was just waiting on her. I was like, I looked at Dad. I was like, "Dad, this is taking a long time." I was like, "Should we go?" And he's like, "She told us to wait. We should
Yeah.
just wait."
Well, at the
So-
rehearsal dinner, I had heard the song for the first time. And so I knew what the song was she was going to be walking
Mhm.
down to. And it played through at least 3 times. And I looked at Steve, my really good friend that did our wedding ceremony. And I said, "Steve, what's plan B, bro? I don't think she's coming down." And he goes, "Well, if she doesn't come down soon, we're all going to die of heat exhaustion." Because his mic had slipped all the way into his suit. It was that hot.
Yeah, it was hot.
And then eventually, our DJ was so good on that day. He kept looping the same song,
Yeah.
and it fed into itself. So it didn't sound like it kept repeating itself. Then all of a sudden, through the trees, because this was an old villa, like cottage, and there were trees lined in the back where we did the wedding. And all of a sudden, I just see a white dress, because we
Yeah.
didn't see each other before the wedding. And so this was a first reveal, and she's walking down these beautiful rock steps behind these trees, and I just see a white dress, and I knew that she had decided to come forward.
Yeah, it was great. It was a beautiful ceremony. It was a very short ceremony. We did a foot washing ceremony where we washed each other's feet during the service, and that was precious.
Yeah.
We wrote our own vows, so we exchanged those vows, and yeah, it was beautiful. It was hot, but it was beautiful. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, the reception, we had practiced. We had taken dance lessons, so our first dance, we started out. Didn't we start out slow dancing and then it bridged into swing dancing, right?
Yeah.
And so we were able to do like a little swing dance with one another. It was really fun, and
Yeah.
it was really sweet.
Yeah.
So my dress had a short train on it, but a train, so it had been clipped up, and the clip came undone. And so while we were dancing, do you remember you had to jump over?
Oh yeah.
I had to jump over my train at one point as he was turning me. It was cute though.
Oh.
It was really cute. And
Yeah.
yeah, I remember when we left, we hadn't eaten hardly anything. And so we went to McDonald's our wedding nights because we were so hungry and we were still poor. So
Yeah. It was good though. It was the best McGriddle I've ever had.
it was great.
It was great.
So did you take a honeymoon? Were you able to save up for something?
We did. We saved up, and actually, I sold my car.
Mm-hmm.
I sold my Xterra. I had a Nissan Xterra, which was my dream SUV, and I sold it and bought a little Honda Civic. I think it was 15 years old, and the proceeds of the sale of that Xterra paid for our honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
So we're big, like try to stay out of debt people, and so when we come home, we don't feel the pain of that that trip. But it was so much fun. We went on a Carnival cruise. It was the only thing we could afford, but we went to like 5 different places in 7 days, and I ate local food. And I should not have done that in Belize. And the chicken was not cooked all the way through, and I got deathly sick on the boat.
Sick. Yeah, he got very sick. But that was one solid 24 hours, because in my mind, giving him a few too many Dramamine would only help him sleep through the sickness, and it did. He slept a good.
I slept through 2 countries.
Yeah.
I mean, she came back one day, and one of the days, and I'd finally woke up. She like put me in a deep coma. And I wake up and I look at her and I'm like, "Where are we?" She goes, "We're in Mexico." I'm like, "When did we get to Mexico?" She's like, "Oh, honey, the day's almost over. It's all good." I'm like, "I missed a whole country and a half."
Yeah, he tried.
Oh my gosh.
He really tried. He tried to get off the boat, but he just couldn't. He was so sick. And but that was one 24-hour period, but the rest of the cruise, it was a great time together. We enjoyed it. We learned that we were not gamblers, because we put $50 in a slot machine, I think, and lost it within like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So the honeymoon package, they gave us this honeymoon package, and it came with like a credit to the casino on the boat. And I had lost one hand of blackjack or something. Mm-hmm. Emily pops up there and won like $80. And we're like, yes. She puts it all in the next hand and lost it all. Yeah. We're like, all right, this is no fun. So, but such a great way to start our marriage together. A lot of people, they plan for the wedding. Yeah. They don't plan for their marriage. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for us, we had just been coached by a lot of really good people in our lives that knew there was a greater purpose to marriage than just the ceremony. You know, this is life together. Yeah. And so we were pretty prepared for that. Yeah. Year one was tough for us. A lot of things happened that were outside of our control, not within our own relationship, but influenced a lot of our growth. You know, my mom had gone through a divorce in the first year of our marriage, and the man that in a lot of cases raised me had just made some really poor choices,
Yeah.
and it led to a divorce. And he was a man that he was on my wedding party, and someone that I really trusted and elevated and highlighted and on our wedding day. So if it were not for God and for the people in our life that we trusted, that would have been a hard first year of marriage, you know?
Yeah. It was
Mhm.
difficult. It was difficult too because I mean, everybody has baggage that they carry into a relationship. And I essentially swung like a pendulum from being treated like a doormat in previous relationships to the exact opposite end, to where I was like, well, I am never going to let anybody mistreat me. And so any small thing that John would do, I would just lash out. And it was tough. It really was. But through the Lord's healing in our lives and us walking even through those difficult moments together, like, I mean,
Mm,
almost 16 years in, we'll be married 16 years in August. Now, I mean,
yeah,
it's
sweet.
just, yeah, it's taken us, some hard times, but we are in such a sweet place.
Yeah.
And
I've
it's
got a lot more gray hair on my face than she does. That's called wisdom, streaks of wisdom.
And now your parents, you got 2 girls.
Yes.
yes.
2 beautiful girls. We love them to death.
Yeah.
Emma Joy and Abigail.
Yeah.
Got a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
and they
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
spitfires. Abigail's just like you, and
Yeah.
Emma Joy in so many ways is just like me.
Yeah. It's
And
crazy.
what a blessing.
When we were first married, we didn't know that we wanted children. We had spent quite a bit of time, just the two of us, like traveling. We went a couple times to Europe and just different things. And um we worked on our master's degrees together when it was we both decided to go back to school. And I got my nurse practitioner degree and he got his seminary degree at the same time. So we did a whole lot of things in our first several years of marriage. And we were for a while against having children. And then it was like, what, 5 years into
Mhm.
it, where we felt like God really changed our hearts and our minds. And we were like, all right, it's time to try. And
Yeah.
John had, I think we were married 2 years, maybe, and we were still saying we weren't going to have children. But he woke up from a dream and he was like, Emily. He woke me
Mm,
up and he was like, Emily, if we ever have a daughter, her name has to be Emma Joy. And so
yeah. I still remember that dream. I believe that God speaks to me in dreams sometimes. And I wake up in the middle of the night. It was so vivid. I still remember it. Like when I close my eyes and think about it, she had this beautiful little dress on. We were in the basement of, I think it was a church. I'm not sure. Um, but I just remember her looking at me with these beautiful blue eyes and dark brown hair. And she's like, Daddy, do I look pretty? And it freaked me out because but I knew God is going to give us a child one day. She's going to have brown hair, blue eyes, and her name is supposed to be Emma Joy. And so that was 2 years in. 3 years later, Emily gets pregnant, and I said, I'm telling you, we're having a daughter. She's going to have brown hair and blue eyes. Her name is supposed to be Emma Joy.
Mhm.
And so we go to an ultrasound. We discover we're having a daughter, and these little steps just kind of unfolded, and it was
Mhm.
amazing. And so then comes the day, July 6th. It's here, 2015, and out comes Emma Joy.
Mhm.
Brown hair, blue eyes, just like my dream had depicted. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so we call her our little dream baby.
I
Absolutely.
love that. Mhm.
Yeah. Then Abigail.
Yeah,
We knew that Emma Joy needed a sister because it was all about Emma Joy.
Yeah.
And so we tried again, and God was gracious to give us another little girl. And
Mhm.
and she keeps Emma Joy in check.
Yeah, she does.
So
She's a little me, and Emma Joy's a little
Mhm.
John.
yeah,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, well, this has been a beautiful story. Do you guys have any advice for someone who is wondering,
Mhm.
will the right one come along, or is this the right one? Do you all have any advice that you could pass on?
To me, when I think about that question, it's not necessarily who you can live with. It's like at some point in your life, you ask the question, can I live without this person?
Mhm.
And so, in a practical sense of that, it would be, I just knew I could not picture my life without Emily.
Mhm.
I just
Mhm.
couldn't. And I think that there's some instinct to that. I think if there's reservation, you gotta peel through that. Like Emily
Mhm.
was saying, prayerfully consider. You gotta peel back those layers of reservation. Is it because of your past, or is it because this isn't the right person?
Mhm.
Mom always told me, John, you can't bake a different cake with the same ingredients.
Mhm.
And when she said that to me, it was because we were baking a strawberry cake, but I was using vanilla ingredients for a vanilla cake. She's like, John, if we want a strawberry cake, we can't use the vanilla ingredients. And
Mhm.
that's always stuck with me. If you're looking for the right person in all the
Mhm.
wrong places, you'll never find the right person.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
typically when you're on the journey of what you want to do with your life. Find the person and where you want to be and the type of person you want to be. You'll find them in those circles. And that's
Mhm.
where I found Emily on
Mhm.
a mission trip during spring break.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. And I knew, even through difficult seasons, like I always knew that John was the one because I've always believed that there's no man that could ever love me more than him. And so believing that, and I still believe that to this day, that's why I married him. There's no man
Mhm.
that would love me more than him.
Mm.
That's beautiful. Okay, so how can people reach you if they want to get in touch with you? And then I want to touch just quickly about your book and about Emmaus.
Yes. Speaking of Emmaus, I am the pastor of a church in Las Vegas, right outside of Las Vegas. And one of our values at our church is relational discipleship. So creating good communities. And so I encourage you to reach out to us. If you're in a relationship and you just need guidance or you need a fan or you need encouragement in any way, Emily and I, one of the things we love to do is share our story with people to help them know they're not alone. So you can reach me at on Facebook or Instagram at John Labonte. It's a pretty simple with no H though. You
Mhm.
won't find me with John, John Labonte, and I'm at both Facebook and Instagram. And Emily is also on
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's a great way to reach out to us. And we would love to answer any questions you may have, or if there's a way we can encourage you. I
Yeah.
believe God created us to have um, relationships.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
one of those might be that you're supposed to get married, but with who?
Mhm. Mhm.
We would
Mhm.
Yeah.
love to help you with that.
Even reaching out through Emmaus Church LB.org. If you click on I'm new, there's a way to fill out a contact and put in a little message. So
Yeah.
we would
Okay.
get any questions and stuff through that as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll
Yeah.
make sure we put that into our website so people can find it there.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
My book is called, I co-authored a book with a very good friend of mine, Dr. Steve Hammond, and the book is called The Christian and Abortion. And it's a very pro-life book. Dr. Hammond was a former abortionist, and he tells his story how he changed his mind about performing abortions, no longer doing that anymore. It's a very powerful story, and we go through scripture and just in the Word of God and just kind of dive into that to see what God says about sanctity of life and all of that. So
Yeah.
it's a really good resource, a good read.
Yeah. And the
Mhm.
reason I like that book is they identify their audience as a Christian,
Mhm.
but also there's testimonies, not just of Dr. Hammond or Emily, but of other people that they've come in contact with through their profession in the medical field that share their stories as well.
Mhm.
And so this is a practical book. It's a very short book, a very practical book on the viewpoints of that topic.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, I think it's a marginalized people because there have been so many abortions in our country. It's more, I would say, sometimes how we respond to those that have had these procedures
Mhm.
done. And we believe that there's hope. We believe that
Mhm.
God is a redeeming God. We believe
Mhm.
that whatever things you feel you're alone in, God wants to break that
Right.
loneliness, and the community of believers can help with that. And I
Mhm.
think this book Emily co-authored helps with that process. So it is a life-giving book and an
Mhm.
encouraging read.
Mm. Mm. Oh, wonderful. Okay, friends, remember, sometimes love begins with a song, but it's the walk that will reveal if it's a real thing. So if you enjoyed this story, I'm going to ask you to follow or subscribe to this podcast so that you don't miss a single story, because absolutely no two stories are alike, but they're all inspiring. They're all delightful. So spread the joy. Share this podcast with someone who loves a good love story. And remember, you can find out more about John and Emily at our website, unexpectedlovestories.com. Just click the link in the show notes below. It's going to take you right to their episode. You'll find out all about the things that they've been doing. You'll see lots of pictures. You'll be able to contact them. Well, I hope that your heart feels lighter and full of hope after hearing their story. You know, the best love stories are the ones that we never saw coming. So keep your heart open, because love is truly waiting for you. We'll see you next time.